Hey guys, this is a little spelling video that I hope helps some of you. Um, First thing I want to say is don't get caught up in labels. I hear a lot of people say, I'm not sure if my child is ADD or ADHD or dyslexic and all these type things. Don't worry about that because the same things are going to help all of them. That's one of the things when I went to the Bard School that they talked about. Everybody's on a spectrum. So it's a spectrum disorder. And so the same things are going to help. So don't really get caught up in that. Second thing, saying it correctly. If you do not say the spelling words correctly, they are not going to spell them correctly. And we in the South have a tendency to totally destroy words. So, we all say hunting and fishing and go. I can't think of anything right now besides hunting and fishing, but it's like we know it's hunting and fishing. So make sure that you're saying it correctly and that they're saying it correctly. And think about a lot of the kids that have ADHD tendencies and I'll correct my own self, spectrum issues, a lot of times end up in speech therapy. If your child's not in speech therapy, that might be something that you want to consider if they have issues saying words. I'm going to kind of get off topic here a little bit with this. I find many times that parents don't want to address the fact that their kids have issues. They don't want to acknowledge it because it makes it real. When I first started down this road with the boys, I had to, fight a lot of people on getting, like my youngest one, in speech therapy because Dad didn't want to admit that he needed it. So it was hard. And I finally got him, convinced, look, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's people don't want their kids pulled out to go to speech. And I mean, I get that. But do you want them to struggle also with things even like spelling related to the speech or kids making fun of them because they're saying things wrong? I mean, you got to acknowledge it. And, it's getting so commonplace that, lots of kids are getting pulled out and stuff. I mean, it's just hard either way. But if you notice your kid struggling, address it. Don't try to sweep it under the rug and hide it because you're not going to help them that way. So if you see they're struggling, give them some help with speech. The schools provide it for free, so just do that. So both of my boys had to go to speech. I probably needed it. I probably need it now. So, because I noticed when Caden talks, he'll talk like this. You can hardly see his mouth moving. When he should be talking like this. You need facial expressions when you're speaking to pronounce words. Like, I know I can take my southern accent and I can just make it do whatever I want, and it's just all over the place. Or you can sit and slow down your words and start pronouncing the words, and it takes on a whole different level. So, it just, it's things to start paying attention to. When I went to the class, they made us do all that, and we had to learn about the breathing and how you hold your mouth and what you do with your tongue, because I know sometimes Caden's tongue is just flat when he should be putting it to the roof of his mouth, things like that. So all this actually doesn't, affect their ability to spell because it's what they're hearing. They're trying to spell what they're hearing. So, just think about that. Pictures. Kids, especially if they have dyslexia, have a tendency to see in pictures. I think anybody on the spectrum actually really kind of sees in pictures. If you talk to your kids about when they dream, they'll say they make movies in their head. It's like we just have this thing where we see pictures. I used to work at a computer helpline, and they would always ask me about anything on software, like menus and stuff, where it was at. And it wasn't that I could remember that was under like file save and all these different places. I could see the menu. So it's like I could visually see where I had done it so many times, what the menu looked like, so I could make the picture in my head, and I could read off the levels that it was, where whatever it was they was needing for the software was. It wasn't that I had remembered the levels. I could just see the picture, and I would read it off the picture in my head. So it's like you hear people with photographic memories, is that sort of thing. That's kind of what we're going to do with this. So ask your kids, say, hey, you seeing pictures? They're going to go, huh? But then they're going to kind of know what you're talking about because it's what happens. It's just what we squirrels do. Changing the list. What you're gonna when you get the spelling list, after you kind of see this, when you get the spelling list, it's going to take a little work on your part as a parent. You're going to need to take that list and either handwrite it on another sheet or type it up because you're going to use colors and you're going to have to break the words up into the syllables. We'll go with that in a sec, but you got to really understand that when they're trying to spell the words, you need to break it down into syllables. I mean, if you got this big long word, you just cannot learn to spell that without breaking it down in syllables. It makes it so much easier. And your kids are going to hate you, and they're going to hate me for telling you this, but it really does work. So, you need to, the little whiteboards are good, but just type it up. The teachers may even be doing this, but we as parents don't know it. And I really wish the schools would hold classes every once in a while to show us tips that the teachers use so we can use them at home because it makes a big difference. I'm just a research junkie, so I kind of find a lot of this out. And I had something else I was going to tell you, about syllables. Just think if you got this long word. You got to remember now, for a child that sees in pictures and you got a long word, that's what they see. They see it as a unit, almost like if you showed them it's like sight words. They see it as a sight word, but they see everything as a sight word. And when you get into those long words, that's the issue. So it's like bird. They would see bird almost like you would see a letter, one letter. So it makes it harder for them. So syllables, if you can get things broken down syllables, it makes a big difference. Let me go ahead and show you this. It's probably going to have a glare on it. And I'm having to look at this backwards. Alright, it's like trampoline. And use your dictionaries. That's why we have them. If you show the word trampoline and then write on the word how it sounds like you get from your dictionary, you got trampoline. Alright, first thing that's going to throw them off is that they're going to want to go trampoline because you got line, but we know it's lean. Trampo, P-U-H, and we got a P-O. I mean, that all throws them off because they're trying to spell like they hear. You've seen your kids do that. And if we as adults, we probably would have even said trampoline. Because when you start really thinking about it, you're going trampoline. But sometimes when we try to break it down, we don't really think about like that. We're going trampoline instead of trampoline. So just think about how we're saying it, and we're usually doing it wrong, so you need to get your dictionary out. So you got trampoline. So they can see visually, oh, okay, that's what it's doing. And it makes a big difference. And this is what you want to do. You can do this like in Word. You can break it down and color code it. The colors really does help. So you got trampoline. Now it's broken down. So they're not worried about having to learn this big long word. They're now learning segments. So trampoline. If they really have issues, you need to break it down even into these syllables like tra-am, and make them say it. Tra-am, poline. Now this is going to throw them off because you're going to have to let them know it's lean. Not really sure how to get them past that, except they're just going to have to do it. You're going to have to look at it and understand that that's the way it is. I mean, we still struggled with that part. So, what you want to do, like we was talking about, you see in pictures, you want to take a mental photo of it. So, have them look at the word and take a mental photo. Then, here's one of the things I want you to think about. When kids look at something, they think they're looking at it and they're really not. Like, you'll say, look at that, and you're just look. It's like a click has to happen. If they don't get that click, it's not going to register. It's kind of like you're just wasting your time. They look at it and it's like, yeah, I see it. They see it, but they're not really seeing it. So you have to make them aware of that difference. It's like if, all right, what color did I just hold up? You don't remember because I didn't tell you to remember. All right? Now remember what color I'm holding up. All right, what did I hold up? Now you're going to be able to tell me black and blue was on the end of this because I told you to. And you had to make yourself actually think about the fact that you're going to look at these colors on there. You had to make that little click happen. And when you make that click happens, then they actually get it into these little noodles of theirs that they're giving us a hard time about. Because you got to remember, you got short-term memory and long-term memory. So that's why repetition, you need to start them on first day so that they can get repetition, because we store in our short-term memory, and the longer you do it, then it starts going into your long-term memory. And that's one of the things about dyslexia. Dyslexics, they was telling us that they recall their short-term memory a lot, and you can come back to them later and they don't remember it because it was all in short-term. So you may have someone, they may be making 100 on their test, and then ask them the next week, they can't spell any of the words because it was all in short-term memory. They're made to long-term memory. So you need to make sure repetition. I'm squirreling again, but I'll show you this in a second again. Another thing, people think that just because you have your child write the spelling words over and over, that helps. I mean, it does, but you know what they're doing. They're just sitting there like trampoline and going, trampoline. They're not paying attention to what they're writing. Caden hated me because I made him write trampoline, and he had to say it as he was doing it, and he had to break it down by syllables. Trampoline. And it makes them aware of what they're doing. So if he's having to break it down by syllables as they're writing it and saying it, then it's helping them to remember it. Otherwise, you got a kid sitting there writing trampoline 10 times, and they didn't pay attention to what they did. So, spinning your wheels once again. So, make them write tram, space, pole, lane, space, L-I-N-E, trampoline, and then say it. When he would spell stuff to me, I'd make him break it down by syllables. Tram, T-R-A-M, pole, P-O, lean, L-I-N-E, trampoline. That's what he would have to do. He hated me, but he became a good speller. So, when I tell you for them to make that mental picture, you got to make sure they have that click. Otherwise, they're just going, yeah, I did it, Mama. And they really didn't. So, I want you to try. All right, I want you to take you a little mental picture of this word, of it broken down. All right, trampoline. All right, now I got to do it, because I ain't a visual. All right, now what I want you to do is, I want you to spell it backwards. That's the trick to it. Now, recall your picture in your head. I had to close my eyes so I won't get it. Trampoline. All right, now look at your picture. You got E-N-I-L-O-P-M-A-R-T. All right. By having to recall that picture, it helps it get into that long-term memory. So now they're having to see the picture. So now they can actually, if they really start thinking about it, I can actually see trampoline as a picture in my head right now. So you got your T-R-A-M-P-O-L-I-N-E, E-L-I-L-O-P-M-A-R-T. And the more you do it, the more you can see it, and you see that picture. So then when they start taking their spelling test, and they have that come up, then they can say trampoline, and then they can visualize that word, and then they can spell it. And it helps them recall. You can do that, actually do that trick on a lot of things. I do it on notes. I just do it on a lot of stuff. And if they have trouble doing it quick enough, talk to your teacher and just say they need extra time. That's what they got IEPs and all that stuff for. So if your child's struggling, don't feel like you can't get any help. Just say they need more testing time. There's laws for all of this stuff. So just break it down, and I'll do a little sheet with how we broke it down on there also, and post it on this so that it kind of helps. But if you got any questions, just let me know, and I'll see, because this was probably kind of squirrely, but hope it helps. Thanks.